What's going on, y'all? My name is Walt James, and welcome back to Hooked on Hoops, the channel where we talk about everything going on in the world of basketball. In an offseason, a certain NBA reporter made a claim of, "I think this might be the craziest offseason ever."
The most craziest ever.
It might not have lived up to those super high expectations, but there's still a lot of interesting moves out there. And before we get started on the actual list, I want to shine the light on some honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention that I'm going to be talking about today is Chris Paul signing with the Clippers. Chris Paul signs with the LA Clippers on a vet minimum deal and returns to his old team while at the same time reuniting with James Harden, his old teammate from the Houston Rockets. Chris Paul has spent his post-LA career on 5 different NBA teams and having varied levels of success, making the Western Conference Finals with the Rockets, leading the rustless Thunder to the playoffs in the bubble, and peaking at making the 2021 NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns. After the last couple of seasons did not see the same success, Chris Paul was then traded to Washington and consecutively rerouted to Golden State, before signing with the San Antonio Spurs as a free agent before the 2024-25 NBA season. Chris Paul still has some gas in the tank, averaging a cool 8 points and 7 assists as a 40-year-old 6-foot-tall guard. Chris Paul is one of the greatest point guards to ever play in the NBA. It is amazing that he gets to have a farewell tour going back to the place that loves him the most, and he can join his fellow old heads at the Unction. So the second and final honorable mention I'm going to be talking about today is Damian Lillard going back to the Blazers. My personal favorite of all the homecomings is seeing the joy that Blazers fans had when it was announced that Lillard was signing back with them. Before tearing his Achilles tendon in Game 4 in the Bucks series, Lillard averaged 25 points and 7 assists as a secondary scorer to Giannis in the regular season. But in March of 2025, it was announced that Damian Lillard would be out indefinitely with a blood clot in his lower right leg, before eventually making a return in the playoffs against the Pacers around a month later. The 2 lower leg injuries that Dame suffered were completely unrelated, but after Lillard was slated to miss the entire 2025-26 NBA season, the Bucks decided to take on his dead cap for the next 5 seasons and waived him in early July 2025. Lillard was originally drafted by the Blazers in 2012 and quickly developed into an all-star guard in Portland, averaging 25 points and 7 assists in his 11 seasons there, and scoring over 32 points a game in the 2022-23 NBA season. Lillard made 7 all-star teams and got 7 all-NBA nods respectively. Damian Lillard ended up requesting a trade in the summer of 2023 and eventually ended up on the Milwaukee Bucks. It never seemed like Dame was happy living in Wisconsin. Personal issues and injuries plagued Lillard's time with the Bucks, ending with him being waived in July of 2025 and allowing him to sign back with a place that he considers home. The love Blazers fans have for their homegrown star is tremendous, and he loves them back just as much, just to show you that the grass isn't always greener. And now, after the honorable mentions, to get into my actual list of 5 free agency moves that I am a huge fan of. Number 1 is Miles Turner. In a shocking move that dominoed after the Bucks chose to waive and stretch Damian Lillard's final 3 years of his contract, giving the Bucks the most dead money on the books for the next 5 seasons, the Milwaukee Bucks chose to use the remaining cap space that they had to sign Miles Turner. Miles Turner moves from the finals runner-up Indiana Pacers, where he has spent the last decade, and signs a 4-year, $107 million deal that teams him up in the front court with Giannis. I love this move for a few reasons. Mostly that Miles is the best possible fit at center with the way that he can defend and stretch the floor. Even if his shooting performance in the finals wasn't all that great, only shooting a lousy 22% from deep, Turner will always be a shooter that teams have to respect and guard out to the 3-point line. Turner also brings youth to the Bucks center spot, and that was a huge question mark with Brook Lopez turning 37 years old and aging out. The Bucks had to maneuver quickly after Damian Lillard was ruled out for the entire next season with an Achilles tear. The Bucks also had very minimal avenues to make the team better with a lack of young talent and draft picks to trade. So this move is a 10 out of 10 to me, all things considered. And I believe this move gives the Bucks a chance to make a deep run in a weak Eastern Conference. The second signing that we are going to be talking about today is DeAndre Ayton signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Ayton signing with the Lakers is a move that I did not like at first, nor did I really have high expectations for, but as the days go by, I like it more and more. I do not believe that Ayton is a perfect fit at center for the Lakers. The Lakers need more of a dirty work center that will hustle, rebound, and play lockdown defense, but the Lakers fall into the same boat as the Bucks, where it's like, what better move is out there for the opportunity cost? And the Lakers have had a clear deficiency ever since trading Anthony Davis for Luka in February, with Jackson Hayes getting most of the minutes, or the Lakers choosing to run out a small ball 5. The last season since the Suns finals run have been pretty lackluster for a guy who came out with super high expectations based on his size and skill, and flashed a ton of potential in the 2021 season. You'd like to believe that with a new role in a new city, that Ayton can have the motivation to be great again, and having Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves to make plays and set up shots for you, that Ayton can get back to his old form and play high-level basketball on a team that wants to contend for an NBA championship. Now, the third signing that we are going to be talking about today is Nickeil Alexander-Walker signing with the Hawks. And before we get into it, I just have a little question for you. Did you know that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin? Did you also know there's two guys on the Lakers named LeBron James?
What that mean?
Nickeil Alexander-Walker signs with the Hawks after a pretty successful stint in Minnesota that saw Nickeil iron out a role in the NBA as a guard who can hound offensive players as an on-ball defender, shoot the basketball, and still has enough on-ball juice to be able to run a couple sets himself while the stars are sitting down. Nickeil is everything you would want in a complimentary guard to your star. Now this also gives me a chance to talk about how much a fan I am of the Hawks offseason and overall how they're shaping this team around Trae Young. Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are the perfect profile of athlete you want next to someone who is as defensively challenged as Trae, along with another year of development for Ricochet and Jalen Johnson returning from tearing his labrum in January. Acquiring Porzingis to be able to defend and stretch the floor while getting off of Terrence Mann's contract was a great deal, especially if Kristaps can stay healthy. This roster is really shaping up to do something nice in a year where there's a sense of openness in the Eastern Conference, while also retaining flexibility over the next few seasons with only Jalen Johnson on the books for the long term. Also wanted to add that Asa Newell at 23 in the draft is a steal. Hawks are cooking. The fourth signing that we are going to be talking about today is Julius Randle re-signing with Minnesota to stay past this season. I told myself while I was planning this video that I didn't want to do players that re-sign because it feels a little bit too easy. We already know how they're going to fit, but I really want to talk about how much money the Wolves love giving out to guys that can play power forward or center. Also, our last pick of Nickeil Alexander-Walker segues perfectly into talking about Randle because of both of their impending free agencies after the loss to Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota chooses to use their space on a 5-125 for Nas and Julius signing a 3 for $100 million. I think this is incredible value for both of these players, especially since they both can play with Gobert on the floor by providing shooting and being able to make plays for others. Julius had a great playoffs after many years of NBA fans calling him a playoff dropper, seeing an increase of points compared to his regular season, 18.7 to 21.7 on increased shooting splits, especially his three ball where he hit almost 39% on 5 attempts per game. Julius Randle has proven his value and seems to be a good fit on a team that should be able to make deep playoff runs for the foreseeable future, even after spending so many assets on the Rudy Gobert trade. So for the fifth and final spot, before we get into it, I just want to say shout out to you if you made it this far in the video, and just for that, I have a little bit of a gift for you. The fifth and final spot will be 2 picks for 1 spot, and that is Trendon Watford signing with the Philadelphia 76ers, and Yabusele signing with the New York Knicks after being on the Sixers last season. I'm tying these picks together because of the connection of playing power forward for the Sixers, either in the past or in the future. Trendon Watford was a positive light on a lost season for the Nets. In the 2024-25 season, he only played in 44 games for the Nets, but he was involved in 18 of their 26 wins. Watford is the size of a power forward, but has a nice ability to put the ball on the floor and either create a shot for himself or make plays a little bit for others. If he can get back to his shooting from his first year in Brooklyn, he is the perfect role guy on offense for the Sixers with his savviness on the ball and his ability to connect with the stars. I think this is an extremely underrated pickup that might have gone unnoticed by a lot of NBA fans. And another move that I think is unnoticed by a lot of NBA fans is Yabusele. I, like most people, came away very impressed after the Olympics and how obvious it was that Yabusele could play at the highest level. It's a shame that he didn't get to play in too many competitive games this season, but he flashed some brilliance as a dirty work / energy guy who can finish plays and give you a lot of shooting on the side. I think he has the perfect profile for a guy that the New York Knicks need to eat up some regular season minutes to keep the wings more fresh for the playoffs. I was a bit surprised that he signed for such a small amount at $5.5 million per season. I think Yabu can play an important role on a good team, and maybe that's a better alternative for him rather than trying to chase a bigger contract on a lottery team, especially in an offseason where there really wasn't a lot of money out there in free agency. But that's a video for another day. Wink. And that just about does it. Now, these are just some guys that I was a fan of the moves they made in this offseason. Mr. Shams Charania claiming this might be the craziest ever heading into the summer, and while that wasn't exactly the case, there was still a ton of low-key player movements that have me excited for this upcoming season, and it still doesn't even start for another couple months. So if you made it this far in the video, let me know what your favorite offseason move was, either for a player, a single team, or your team. This is Walt James from Hooked on Hoops, and I'm glad you're here. Peace.